things like that. The goal here, we've talked about budgeting and we've talked about cutting. Let's talk about how to make some extra money, because that's really where a lot of us need to be going. Why not? You're at home, you've got some extra time. Maybe you're cleaning out closets. Maybe you're just not cleaning out closets, but you should. Let's put that to work and get some things sold. So that's where we're going to go tonight. I'm always glad to go wherever you want to go, though. So if you leave a comment, I will try to answer them between myself or my husband. One of us will see them, and I will hopefully get you an answer. And I'm completely cool with them being off topic. So wherever your questions take us is fine, but we are definitely going to cover selling things online. That's our big goal. And it's a great topic because there's so many places to sell. So how do you even decide where to start? Plus, what should you sell? So that's kind of the big things that I want to hit on. I know that there are a number of you guys, though, that have joined in the past when we've talked about this. I think the last time we talked about it was over a year ago, that also sell things online. So please share any tips that you have in the comments, things that have helped you, things that maybe were horrible and you learned don't try to sell that. Those are great tips. Those help everybody. So that's where we're going to try to go. And some of this too, as you're thinking about it, we're definitely going to talk in terms of selling things online like eBay, putting it in the mail, but we're also going to hit on selling things locally. I know that we're all stuck at home. I get that. So some of the things that you may cover tonight or you may learn tonight, keep in mind that you could apply this in a couple weeks. It doesn't mean that I have to apply it tomorrow. It means that I can be pondering, I can be pulling things and figuring out how to sell them. You could also do front porch pickups. You could do lots of things where I didn't have any contact with folks. So, we can get creative here if we have to, but there's definitely some things I know that you have in your house that have a value that you could sell to get back some easy grocery money if that's where you needed to go. So that's the goal as we dive in, and hopefully that will help. So if you've got questions, though, again, just to emphasize, if you have questions that are off topic, I am okay with that. I promise, guys. So take us wherever we need to go. If you have a question, saving money, couponing, wherever you want to, that's totally cool. So what I want to talk about first as we dive into this, I thought we would kind of take it from more like getting it listed and then talk about where to list. So first off, you are trying to find things to sell. So what types of things could we be looking for around the house to sell? You'll be surprised, actually, the things that are selling. But the first thing to go for is anything that you have that is a brand. Brands are key. They're key to everybody. We all want to be able to own name brand items, but name brand items cost more. The reason for that, though, when I'm turning around to resell it, is that they're going to retain some of that value. So one thing that I actually pulled as an example years ago, actually through Southern Savers, we used to help sell a magazine. And the way that we sold that magazine was through Southern Living at Home. So Couponers Wanted All You magazine. Now, how many of you guys have been around long enough to remember that magazine? Because we're talking about like 7, 8 years ago, maybe upwards of 10 years ago. All You magazine had tons of coupons in it, came every month. So it was sold through Southern Living at Home. I don't know if you can see that brand on the bottom of this, guys. And so we became Southern Living at Home sellers, and that meant that we actually got product. So I have a number of Southern Living at Home branded items. This is, I don't even remember what their names are, but it's basically a flower pot with a vase with a frog to display flowers. So these things don't exist anymore. Southern Living at Home doesn't exist anymore. And every time I look them up on eBay, they're actually doing really well because you can't buy them. And there are a number of folks that would love to have them. So great example of, if you can see it there, a branded item, got that Southern Living at Home brand. It's not still in the box. That would take it even higher. But if I wanted to turn around and sell it, I could. So that's the first thing to start looking through. Now, when was the last time I put flowers in this? I've got a ton of other things that could totally be vases. This is really, I think, an old pasta sauce jar, but we live in the South. So you can stick anything in a mason jar, right? And I could part with this. I would not be sad to part with it. This would earn money back. So that's what I want you to start with. Let's go through the house. Let's figure out, what do I have that has value? brands can be an easy one, so go to on that. The other thing that, and I picked up this pasta jar that might surprise you, is things that actually some of us would deem trash. This is recyclable. This needs to just be in the recycling bin. But there are folks that will buy on eBay a case of mason jars, a case of any kind of jars, really. So you've saved up, this is I don't even know how to pronounce this brand, Bone Mammon preserves jar. Yeah, put them all together. Sell them in a lot of glass jars. They'll sell. Another weird one that will sell, maybe not right now, toilet paper tubes will sell. People want them for arts and crafts supplies. Used magazines. If you have a brand of used magazines and a whole year's worth, maybe Southern Living at Home, any of those, folks will buy them as well. Kind of crazy, I know. So just to throw out just some weird things. Electronics. So let's go here. I don't even know how old this is, but this guy is ancient, and he's probably, I don't know, he's a brick. So just so you get that it's antique now. They make them obsolete. They still have a value. So you would post it as what it is. You're going to say straight out whether it works, whether it doesn't work. It's got a cracked screen. People will buy them. Now you need to post as is. You need to, when we're going with electronics, we need to be very careful, because there are a lot of scams that will try to say you didn't send it to them. They'll steal all the parts in it, and then you lose your money. But let's be smart about it, because there are a lot of folks that would buy this for parts. An example, actually, is my husband, and I should have grabbed his watch. So my husband, for his birthday, he got a deal, used, local, on a Samsung smartwatch. He wanted it. He found a really great deal on a used Samsung smartwatch. And you guys may remember back in February, right before all this craziness started, we went on a super cheap cruise, and part of our cruise, we went snorkeling one day as a family. Well, he went snorkeling in his fancy schmancy Samsung smartwatch, and it leaked. Well, because he bought it used, there wasn't much he could do about it. But I am married to a computer engineer. You may not know that. So, just to kind of shout out to him, he took his now dead used smartwatch, took it apart, bought parts for it from other people who had dead smartwatches, and fixed it and put it back together. So still cheaper than buying a brand new one both times, but in the end, he became that parts guy. He took pieces of the dead watch, pieces of other people's dead watches, and put them together to make a working watch. So people really do, I promise, want, long story short there, your dead iPad or your dead smartwatch or whatever it might be. You'll be surprised. So just any sort of electronics, whether it's working or not, it might have value. Another weird one for us in our house with 5 girls and a mom, so 6 women, my poor husband. We all have long hair. We kill vacuums. This is where vacuums come to die, with long hair. And so my sweet husband has learned that on eBay, vacuum parts actually have a value. So the whole vacuum's not dead, but pieces of it are definitely dead. And he's learned to kind of piece ours back together. And they all end up looking like Frankenstein vacuums by the end. But he can turn around and sell the pieces as well. They're actually worth more apart in separate pieces than they are together. So dead things have a value. Just to kind of emphasize all of that, dead things have a value. So don't give up on them. Don't chunk them. Don't take them to the dump until you kind of tear them apart and see. Just go and search and see what's happening. So as we've gone through all of that, and Jessica's saying on the vacuum, repair costs are ridiculous. Exactly. He does most of the repairs around here, taking them all apart and piecing them all together. But that's also, 15 years of learning how to deal with lots of women in the house and the fact that we kill vacuums. It's just what we do. You learn quickly how to find used parts for yourself, but also what parts have value. So just, that's just really quick, hopefully giving you some quick ideas. There's a ton of other things, obviously, that you can sell. But I just wanted to give you a glimpse, because some folks will be like, I don't really have that much. You do your clothes as well. So if you've got anything that's nice, that's a name brand, and guys, name brand can even be Old Navy. Old Navy is pretty cheap, but people still recognize the brand and they're willing to buy it. So anything that you have, it could have value. So let's talk about where you can turn around and sell those items. Now that we've kind of got a general running list of what may work, where could I turn around and sell those items and make some money with that? So in terms of places, let's focus with online first, and let's focus in terms of not even local. We're going to ship it. So in terms of that, how do I want to list it? What do I want it to look like? What are some ways to kind of get folks to see it? And this really, guys, is no matter where you list it. I guess I should say that. It doesn't matter whether we're local or we're online. These next little bits are just important. They're going to help you sell it. So first off, wherever you decide to sell it, the best picture that you can take, the better. So even this, let me see if I can get it to be the worst for you. The most whited out, if you can't even see the little design on the front in your picture, that doesn't do you any good. I want the folks to see what it looks like. Obviously, they don't need me in the shot. So you want to take crisp, clear pictures, and you want to take a ton of them. They're going to let you, most of these selling sites that you're going to use, whether it's the local apps, whether it's eBay, they're going to let you post a number of pictures, and they're not going to charge you to put up, 5, 8, whatever you decide. Post them. Post all the pictures, because the more pictures you show, the more people get a clear idea of what it is that they're signing up for. So yeah, there. If I can't see that this has an emblem, or maybe you can't see that it has kind of a fun, it's supposed to look, I guess, antiqued on the side. If you can't tell that, it doesn't do you any good. So very clear pictures showing all sides. So even showing all the way down, look, that I still have the inside little piece that came with this. It's never been used. It's just sat in a cabinet. This would be a great thing. I think I'm just going to post it to eBay when we're done. So giving you a clear idea of every little bit about it, good pictures. So not just the 4-year-old took them and you posted them, but good. If you have a newer phone, you may not even know this. I was showing my mom this feature with her phone recently, and maybe it was that her phone didn't even have it, but I was showing her how it worked with my phone. But newer phones have portrait mode. So when you're looking at your camera, you can slide over, and portrait mode gives it that little yellow bar down at the bottom, and it'll turn yellow when it feels like it's happy. It's far enough away from the object. It turns yellow, and it will blur out the background. So let's see if I can kind of show you what I mean by this. Sharing my iPhone here. But if we pull this up, and let's see if we can get it to blur out the background so you guys can see all the text. So we'll take the picture, and then with the picture, if you look at that, you can see the computer in that picture is blurry. The other gear, where we're now trying to use a mic so it sounds a little better, the other gear on the table is blurry. If I'm in a store, so just, give you that inside look on that one. If you guys ever see pictures that I post in a store and the store is blurry behind the object, that's portrait mode. But it's taking a much more kind of zoomed in glance of just the object, and it looks really nice. So use it. If you're taking pictures with your phone, it's there. Use it if your phone has that feature. But it's going to help. Pictures help. I promise. They tell 1,000 words. They really do. The other thing that I want you to go is with your title. So this is where being a blogger kind of comes in handy a little bit, but there's something that we should all learn, and it's called search engine optimization. But when it comes down to even trying to sell things, even on apps and on eBay, having a great title helps you get found. So if I post couch, $100 on even a local app, we're going to go with, OfferUp or Let's Go, one of the it's local things. Couch, $100. It's going to get anyone who's searching for a couch. They're going to find it. It's going to show up because it has the word couch in it. But instead, if I put brown faux leather couch, detachable cushions, use your title space. Use it to the max. However many characters they're going to let you put in that title, Think of descriptive words that people would search for. That's important. So if you have something funky, but no one's ever going to search for whatever it may be, like this guy, for example, I probably wouldn't put petite, well, I would say petite Southern Living at Home flower vase. I don't know that I would say with frog. I don't know that people would know to call this a frog. Some people would, but probably not many. And instead, when somebody searched for frog on eBay, that's going to pull up, and that's not what they're looking for. So do think about what people would search, but it's incredibly helpful. Use all the characters that they'll give you in your title. It will help people to find what you're selling and help them to see what it is without even having to do a bunch of reading. I learned this years ago. People don't read. They don't read anything. I cannot tell you how many posts. I mean, I can. There are over 60,000 posts on Southern Savers. That's a ton. We're on our 12th year, guys. So 60,000 blog posts. I cannot tell you how many times in the last 12 years I've had someone ask a question, leave a comment, and the answer is in the second sentence. You got through the first, but you didn't get any further because folks don't read. They just skim. They're really fast. So give it to them in the title. It's incredibly important. Use all the words that you can, please. Give it to them in the title. So we are going to move to the description, and I do want you to still use words there because the people who want to buy it are going to read the description. So give them all you can. Don't just say brown couch, as is, no haggling. You could give them a little bit more to go on there because all they're going to do is send you an email with a bunch of questions. So the more you put in your description, the less, in theory, questions you're going to get from potential buyers. So it's potentially going to make for less of a headache from you, assuming that they read it all, but they should. If someone's really interested in purchasing what you want to purchase, they should read it all. So, don't sit there and write a small 4,000 word essay, but do give them information in the description. Also remember that some searches use description words as well. So they're definitely going to key off the title and those words that you put in the title. So that's going to help it get found. But some of them will also key off of words that are in the description. So, just continue that. Continue using brown couch, faux leather, 4 years old, small scratches. The more you share, the more honest you appear to folks. And the more they're willing to deal with you. You're not trying to hide it. So if it has scratches, tell them outright the condition of it. I promise you, folks will still be interested. So and this is us, we are not opposed to buying things used, to buying things on eBay. We actually, after Christmas, bought a couch on eBay. Or I think that's what, it might have been Facebook Marketplace now because my husband did all the legwork. So he should probably chime in on that one. It was from folks here in town, and they were very honest. It is torn up. It's a nice leather couch, but it has scratches all over the top. For me, that actually kind of put me at ease because I have a number of children. I don't want a fancy leather couch that then I'm going to have to look at my kids and be like, no one can sit on that couch. No, this couch is very loved on, but what we had was a love seat that was probably about 7 years old, and the entire top of it was just torn to bits. And it was done. We had started putting a crib sheet over the bottom so that people could sit on it without the top just sticking to their clothes and tearing off with them. It was pretty rough. So we went to eBay to try to find something else because, guys, a family of 7, one couch doesn't work for a family of 7. May not be something that you deal with in your house, but in our house, there have to be enough places for people to sit. So second couch coming from Facebook Marketplace. It is torn up, but I love it. So be honest, be open. Somebody is still going to want to buy it. We were happy to find a couch that was in our price range, and I actually was very pleased to have one that was already loved, very happy. So, and folks are asking, what's the portrait trick? So the portrait trick, if you have a newer phone, it's going to automatically pull up and be in photo mode. Slide it over, wrong way. Slide it over that way. We get into portrait. And you can see that gray bar, it just turned yellow because it thinks I want to take a picture of the china cabinet. It'll turn yellow when it's decided that you are far enough away from an object. And I'll take a picture again of this, and we'll turn this back around just so you can see. But when I take a picture of this, it's going to turn yellow again when I'm far enough away. And you just saw my dining room chairs just blurred out in the background. So now when I click on that picture, you more see the object and less of the crazy background. It's the way to make life look prettier. All of a sudden, the laundry's hidden in the back, whatever it might be that you're trying to hide, but you're really just trying to focus in on the object. And that's what portrait mode's gonna let you do. So you just slide your photo over one notch and you're gonna be in portrait mode. So again, to show you on this one, all I did at the bottom, so you'll see it's in photo mode, and then slide over to portrait. If you slide over again, you get in that fun, we're gonna make a I don't even remember what this is called, panorama, thank you. I don't do that very often, but now you kind of see how that's gonna look. So that's portrait mode, use it, it's fun, it makes you look fancy when you take pictures, but it definitely zooms in on a product. Okay, yeah, and my husband, I just saw him share in the Facebook side, so that old couch that I just mentioned that was super torn up, took it to Goodwill. Goodwill put $5 on it, guys, so that's how torn up it was. But maybe someone will use it, and they can put a crib sheet on the bottom of it too and run with it if they wanted to. Okay, so we've got great photos, great title, use all the characters in that title and fill in with a description. So here's another tip on the description too. So let's say that I handed this to my husband and I said, hey, I want you to post this on eBay. He'd be like, I don't even know what it is. He would not know that that was a frog. So Google it. Look up a description. If it's a product that's still available, this one isn't, so it's a tricky example. I asked for him to pull me some things to show you guys. So here's one. I wouldn't even know what description to put on this. And I don't think I can hold it either. So this is a massive Nerf gun, and it was sent to us by Nerf to a few years ago, I think, to do a review on, and it's been living in our house. So a lot of times I'll hold on to these for birthday parties if the girls end up getting invited to some birthday parties where someone would like this. But I actually gave this one to my husband and said, hey, we should actually sell this on eBay because it's a Nerf product. I wouldn't even know how to list this. I don't even know what it does. So go and search the product description. Go to Amazon, look at the product description. I'm not telling you to plagiarize here, but use that to build your description. So if you don't have any ideas of what to write, use, in a way, the framework of what has already been written about it from the brand's description of the product, because that's what it is. And save yourself some time and some headache of trying to figure out what in the world something is. This is a Nerf gun, by the way, that shoots out cars. It doesn't shoot out bullets, it shoots out cars. It's a little unique. But that's what it does. So go that route. Use the description that the brand has given you versus my version of this is a Nerf gun that shoots out cars. The brand's description is probably a little bit better than what you're going to come up with if you really don't have a clue as to what it is. Just change it up a little bit. Again, we're not asking for, copyright plagiarism issues, but it does give you a good place to get started. Now, the big question in all of this is price. So how do I decide what I want to set the price for these items? So a really great place to get started on price is actually to use eBay's advanced search. So eBay's advanced search, and I'll just show you what that looks like. We'll stick a link in here for it, but you really can just Google eBay advanced search. And the reason for that is that I get the ability to search completed listings. So if I wanted to, I could come in here and search keywords or item numbers. Let's go with Southern Living Petite. I'm pretty sure that's what was in its name. I can't spell very well either, so who knows? We might be spelling that wrong. Petite vase, completed listings. I could even narrow it down. Let's say I just wanted to see, let me try to, make that as big as I can for you guys. I can even narrow it down to maybe see things that were just auctions or just buy it nows to get an idea what was new, what was used, but I don't need to if you don't want to. We just want to see what closed, because this is going to give me an idea of what current prices are for those offers or if they're even selling. So these were completed listings of how they went, whether or not they sold, what people ended up buying. Did they close? Did they not? it gives you an idea. So in terms of the offers that are there, this was a buy it now, $9.50, and it included, that was with an additional basically the same price again, $7 in shipping. So some of them are, some of them are not. So it kind of gives me an idea, do I even want to waste my time selling it? A lot of them aren't. And then when I see the green, they are. So it's just telling you that yes, some have sold, but some are not. If I did want to list it, I can definitely see the price range. It's going to be in that $7 to $9 range. But the interesting thing is that folks are still grabbing this with a really expensive shipping. So one of my tips on price would be that you actually factor the shipping in to your price and you do free shipping. It's a mind game, but free shipping will totally key something over in somebody's mind because they feel like that's a deal. So if you wanted to, you could factor that into your price, and who knows as to how it would sell. But when you're comparing items, that's one of the first things most of us are going to do, kind of looking at this. Here we go. Someone accepted that and they had put in free shipping, or here's 3 of them, buy it now, free shipping. These sold, just so you kind of see. Now this person, I don't know, I probably wouldn't have done free shipping with a $10 order, but you get the idea. Once it has that free shipping on it, people really are much more willing to grab something. So if you can factor that in, I'm not saying that you just make the shipping free, that you just eat the price, but you factor it into your price. So maybe instead of listing this guy for $7 with $9 worth of shipping, which was what one of those orders that sold, maybe instead I list this for like $16, which would be the same. But $16 with free shipping, or $15 with free shipping. Same feel on that, but it will make folks want to jump because they feel like the shipping it's become a deal for them. Now, obviously, if you're doing a local one, I'm just showing you eBay right now, but eBay is still a great place to come to figure out your price. Even if I'm going to sell local, figuring out my price and being able to look at completed listings is a really big help. Another thing that you can use is Camel. Now, Camel is a website that tracks Amazon prices all the time. So Camel is not going to help me in terms of an eBay price, but what it is going to do, if I'm trying to sell something that is new, like let's see this Nerf Nitro, I don't even know if it's still sold because it's kind of older. Or I guess we could kind of go a different route rather than searching this for it. We can search Amazon for it. This is really how Camel is meant to work. We can come to Amazon. We can search for a Nerf Nitro, Moto Fury Rapid Rally. So when we find the link to it, if it's even still sold, and I don't know that we're going to find the exact product. So let's just go with this one up here. It's close enough. So when we find the link to it, we grab the URL at the top. This is how Camel is going to work. I grab the URL at the top. Right now I can see how much it is on Amazon. Yes, that's great. I see Amazon's normal price. But what Camel is going to show me is actually what the price has done over the last 3 years. And this way I know whether that's a normal price, a sale price, a pretend really high price, and it just gives you an idea before you just go off that Amazon price assuming that it's truth, because it's not always truth. So now I get an idea, you know what? It's kind of hovering between, if we look at this crazy chart here, it's kind of hovering between $32 and $39.99. So a price in that range is an honest price. $39.99 is definitely the highest that it ever has gone. It's never gone above that. And it appears that it dropped, I'm going to guess this is actually for Amazon Prime Day. It fell last July, but it hasn't fallen since. So if you're dealing with a brand new product, I'm searching Amazon just to back up and show you what I did. Grab the URL at the top after I found the product, plugged it into Camel. And the reason for that is because these prices right here on Amazon are not always like a gold standard. They're not always, they could be on sale. They could also be inflated. So it's helping you to see what's a standard price for this item. just so you have an idea of where to start in terms of listing your item. You can also look at current auctions. So I showed you all the closed ones, but looking at current ones doesn't hurt either. How much is out there, and it may actually change your mind. So if I went and I looked at current ones and there are 40 people trying to sell this particular item, then I may just want to hold on to this, for a few more years. Who knows? It's up to you, but obviously the less people selling the same exact thing, the better for you. It's supply and demand. So just keep that in mind. Timing may also be something that you want to consider too. So for example, posting this guy right now, big and huge, probably wouldn't do as well as posting it even in a local group come November. And folks are looking for Christmas presents. Folks aren't in Christmas present mode right now. So they're going to see it and they're like, yeah, but I don't really need a Nerf gun right now. Where am I going to keep this massive box? Because seriously, sitting on this chair next to me, it's as tall as I am. Just sitting on the chair, but you get the idea. So think about the item that you have too and when it's the most popular. It would be the same advice that I have to you in terms of when's the right time to buy things. We want to buy things off season because we can get a great price on them. But if I'm trying to sell them, I want to sell them on season. So if I have toys and games, Christmas time is peak time for turning around and getting the best price that I could, or pre-Christmas, really, October, early November, getting the best price that you could on those items. Okay, so hopefully some of those things will help you figure out a price point to get started. And again, guys, I showed you eBay and whatnot, but you can use that to help you set your price no matter where you end up selling the item. So it's not just to figure out an eBay price, but just a good price in general. Obviously, too, if you're going bigger, you have, if we're talking cars, RVs, boats, there are Blue Book sites for those. So you don't need to just be eyeballing it based on closed sales or on what other listings there are. You obviously want to use those Blue Books if you're going for something much larger. We have sold cars. We've bought an RV, a very old RV, through Craigslist, I think is where we found it. So, it is still a great place to sell used larger items, but you want to use those Blue Books to decide whether or not you have the best price. And that's just Google. So Googling, RV Blue Books, and you'll find a great way to look through and plug in everything about your 15-year-old camper, which, still got it and had to do a bunch of work to it, but it was a deal and we've loved it. So you can do that and you can still get great deals, but also sell them. Just use the Blue Books versus doing your own homework, please. Okay. So to dive back into where to go. And again, guys, I'm glad that this is helpful. I'm used to y'all asking questions too. So if you have questions, please feel free to, jump in with any questions that you have on or off topic. Completely happy to go there, but I'm glad that this is working for folks too. I guess if I'm not getting questions, you're enjoying what you're learning, and hopefully that's helpful too. Okay, so let's talk about places to sell because there's a ton. And I actually went hunting today because the last time we talked about this, which was over a year ago, some of y'all threw in the comments places that I had never even heard of before. So I tried to go hunting and digging and researching on even places that we've not used so that I could give you some insight. But I have a feeling you'll probably throw a couple at me as well that I still didn't hear about even in my hunting. I don't know, maybe it dates us, but we tend to be kind of the gold standards when we go to deal with selling or buying, and that is eBay, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist as being like the top three. Keep in mind, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, as long as you don't pay through Facebook Marketplace, there's really no fee there. You can post anything you want. eBay, once we go that route, I'm gonna have to start paying. I'm either gonna have to pay listing fees, depending on how they pay. I'm gonna have to pay a transaction fee as well, if they paid with a credit card or something like that. There's gonna be some fees factored in on their payment. So that's going to count into the profit that you've made. So you do need to consider where you're listing. in terms of how much you could be losing in your total return on your time and your product. The other side, though, in terms of what you're listing is the risk. And I don't know that a lot of people look into that. So this is my concern for folks. If you wanted to sell electronics and that the electronics are working, there are a lot of risks to selling electronics online, because most of these sites, eBay included, they tend to always side on the side of the buyer and not the seller. So if the buyer says something, whether it's true or not, the seller ends up getting kind of stuck. And so I do encourage you, before you go and start digging out your old phone and selling it on eBay, I encourage you, especially if that phone's working, I encourage you to just do some homework on selling electronics and working electronics on eBay. I think it's a great place to sell dead electronics, and selling them for the parts and listing it as you're selling it for the parts. You're great. You're going to be fine. But working electronics, be a little cautious there on eBay. What I might recommend working electronics is that you start to deal more local. There's a lot of folks that would love a deal on a phone. A friend of mine, actually, her phone just died today. So we're off trying to find for her a new iPhone or a deal on one. Downside, her phone picked the week of a new Samsung phone launch. Well, there isn't going to be a single deal for you on a new iPhone during Samsung phone launch week in a local store. It's just a bad week to have your phone die. So a great week to start looking for something local through Facebook Marketplace, through some of the other local providers. And the reason there is that you're dealing directly with the seller. There's not a third party that's going to come in and let that buyer complain to them or say that what you did was wrong. They're dealing directly with you. So it might be a better place to deal with for electronics. So another one, if you're wanting to go electronics, is that you can do a square trade warranty. And that is offered, it's really a company that's owned by Allstate, but that's my husband's tip on that. So if you're going to go electronics, you could grab that warranty and feel a little bit better too. So Linda asks, where's the best site to find virtual assistant jobs? There's a number of sites like that, Linda, that will let you kind of either post that you're willing to do work or you're wanting to find somebody. In terms of places to look, Fiverr is one, Upwork. These are some of the ones that I've recommended in the past. You can also go and just in general look at, Monster, which is like the big post your resume type site, and just see who might be searching on those sites. But Fiverr and Upwork are great for copywriters, graphic designers, editors, proofers, but VA work is also in there. That would probably be the best place to get started on those. Trying to think of other places. So we talked a little bit about places that you could also find other work on a previous Q&A too, but one that might also be interesting for you, and we'll just post this in the link. I'm looking through kind of old notes to make sure that I gave you the right place, but a link that, and I should probably click through it. I haven't clicked through it in a while. Amazon actually has a way that you can sign up to be an audiobook narrator. Come on, what else do you have to do right now? Just read books and record it. So that's a fun one, and we'll stick that in the link. You get paid by the audiobook that you've done. And it depends on the audiobook that you choose and the contract and whatnot, but you can look into it. It's an interesting way to maybe make some money. Okay. So in terms of other places, other than the big three, if you're dealing with clothes, brand name clothes, Poshmark and Tradesy are two great ones for brand name clothes rather than links. I'm going to just give you guys the names here in the comments, but Poshmark or Tradesy are two. And really, you don't want to deal with clothes that aren't brand name on those sites. They're not going to do as well. They're kind of just going to sit there, but you can do pretty well. There's another one that's newer, but if you have vintage clothes or costume jewelry and some real jewelry, Vinted is another one that it's gotten really big with clothing. Some of it is newer clothing too, but a lot of what you'll find there what they're trying to market to is vintage items. That's why they have the name. So 3 good ones for clothing. One that I mentioned in the past too, ThredUp. Different. You're not going to list your individual clothing, but it is a good way if I'm just trying to get some money. ThredUp, you can order a clean out the closet bag, and ThredUp, we'll stick that one, just its name in there, but it's like sewing thread, but without an A. So THRED up, ThredUp. So you order a closet clean out bag. They send you basically a big U.S. Postal Service flat rate priority mail bag. That's what's going to come in the mail. You're going to stuff that with all the clothes that you can fit in it and then mail it to them. And then they're going to give you credit towards other clothes for the value of what you sent them. The hard part with ThredUp, you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. They do have kind of a calculator you can use on their website, but you don't know exactly what you're going to get until they get it and they look at what you've sent them. But it's a good way to get something without having to individually list all of the items that you had in the closet and individually sell them and ship them or deal with local pickup, however you're handling that. It just kind of gets it done. So that might be for some folks that don't want to put a lot of time into it, but do want to clean out the closets and get something back for it. I'm all for taking things to Goodwill. Normally we don't take completely trashed items like our couch, but we decided it was so comfortable. It's just shedding its skin. So we thought somebody might still want it. But typically you do want to, anything that has a value still, if you can turn around and get that value back, that's better for you in the end. So that's ThredUp, super easy. Vinted, Poshmark, or Tradesy. You're going to sell individually the items of clothing, but potentially do pretty well. They'll also do accessories. So if you've got Kate Spade bags or some belts that are name brand, you can get those posted too. So let's talk local. There are a number of places that you can sell just locally. So Facebook Marketplace, great for local sales. Also for, cars, RVs, folks will travel for those items that are, somewhere in your area, hour and a half, they're willing to do that. Go for it on Facebook Marketplace, not a bad one. A couple other apps though, and some of these you can use online, but most of them are apps. Like you would just want to grab the app. Let's Go is another one. There's or Let Go, not Let's Go. Let Go, OfferUp, Garage Sale. So it's like garage, but with a V. GarageSale.com and Near Me are some that you can all use. There was one that folks asked last year, and I've actually seen ads for one called Mercari. I've never used Mercari, guys, but it is one that I actually did a lot of digging on today, because the more that I dug, and I dug on a lot of these, but the more that I dug on that one, everything that I found was not good for sellers. The buyers, there weren't a lot of complaints, but sellers, there were a ton of complaints. And since we're talking about selling in general, that might be one that I wouldn't go rushing towards. You've got a lot of options as to where to post your items. And remember, with some of these sites, there's no fee to list your product. So the OfferUp, the Let Go, you can post them just like you could on Facebook Marketplace. You could post these items multiple places so that it gets seen by more people. Once I'm having to pay a listing fee, like eBay, Mercari, I don't really want to go there if I'm going to list it and then have to pay to list it. So I would stick with the free options and do a great description, do great photos, and post it wherever you wanted to, because there's no reason not to before you start to deal with having to pay somebody to list an item. Obviously it depends on what you're selling, but local and not paying listing fees is pretty great for getting the most kind of out of your money that you can and the most out of your time that you can. So again, that was Let Go, OfferUp, and Near Me were 3 great ones, and Garage Sale as just, I guess it's 4 really, on top of Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. And Craigslist does have an app now, by the way, if you are an app person. I think their app is called C+. Don't hold me to that though, because now I don't remember. I've always just used the website. I've never tried to use an app on that one. But that's still a number to give you an idea of where to get started. And if you are wanting to, sell a lot more items, then maybe you grab some of these apps and you just see which ones are the easiest to use, which ones make the most sense to you. or the better option for you, which ones already have a number of things listed in your area. Because if you're going to jump into one of these apps and there's only 5 things listed in your area, what that really tells you is that there aren't that many people in your area that are currently using this app. So if it's a free app and free to post and free to buy, then people are going to be more apt to use it both ways. The more listings that you see, not necessarily for your same product, just the more listings that you see in your area, the more people are using this app in your area. And that's going to tell you whether it's worthwhile for you and your time to even deal with it. If you're not seeing a ton, then maybe you don't really worry about that app and you move on to some others. But there's no reason not to use multiple ones, but also no reason to be in one if nobody else is. So, and there's a number of others. We really could have listed like 30 apps, but some of these, when you go hunting for selling items, some of these apps that are out there are really geared towards very large cities, like New York, Los Angeles, places where a lot of us aren't. Realizing most of us are in the Southeast somewhere, and we aren't in New York, Philadelphia, whatnot. And some of you might be, so hello if you are, but not all of us are there. And if you are in a major city, then great. But if you aren't, I wouldn't worry about those. So log in, see how many are in your city. If there's not a ton, then just move on to the next app on all of those. So Terry, great question. If I'm going to go to town and I'm going to post a number of things all at the same time, how do I keep up with inventory, organizing, and bookkeeping on all of those things? What I would recommend, Terry, if you're going to we're going to go business here, we're going to have a number of listings. It's probably going to be in your best interest to stagger those guys and to potentially do it to where I have a number that if we're going auction style, maybe I have a number that are all going to close within 24 hours of each other so that I can deal with payment and I can go to the post office or I can order a UPS pickup, save yourself some time, all on the same day for those products. If I'm not going to go auction style, then this means that in theory they're going to sell whenever. I am a Google Drive fanatic. So for me, this would be in a spreadsheet. We're going to have the product. We're going to have the link where the product is posted. And I may even, for Terry, it depends on how many things you're listing. But for me, I would even have possibly the product per page, one per page, because in a spreadsheet, you can have multiple pages. That way I can keep tabs of who I've talked to about that product. Have I followed up with them? Were they interested? Were they not interested? Keeping a contact list basically of who I'm dealing with for each product, because that can get confusing. And if we're dealing with local pickup, I don't want to be giving the one person the wrong product or get confused as to what we're dealing with. For us, when we tend to sell things online, we're talking about maybe 3 things at most that we're dealing with at one time. Mostly because we've got a lot of other irons in the fire. We're not necessarily 100% into an eBay business. If you are there, I would start with spreadsheets. Beyond that, though, if you are truly looking at going into business for this, I should mention eBay is actually running a deal right now for eBay Business. That is not a personal, you're just posting a few things, but eBay Business, they're actually waiving a bunch of fees through, I want to say, mid-May for folks that sign up to try to help folks start a new business right now. I think it's a great thing. So if that's really where you want to go, the reason I mention that is that eBay Business on that side, they kind of do this for you. You end up with a little dashboard so that you can see what you're selling, you can see who's communicating with you on that sale and where it is, so that you can mark that it's sold, you can mark that you've shipped it, that kind of thing. And it does make the process a little smoother for you. But that's where I would probably just recommend that you use a spreadsheet to get started if you're not going to go on the eBay Business side. And I use spreadsheets for everything. So even down to, this isn't eBay related, but if I have a post that a brand has asked me to post, well, I've got in there what the brand was, who the contact was, when they wanted me to post it. And I even stick in the links after I'm done, because the brand always comes back and says, hey, could you send us the links? We're so excited that you posted that. Well, there it is, so that I can just pull those later and save myself some time. But that's just, spreadsheets make me happy. They always have. So that's where I would point you. And Google, in terms of that, Google Drive, if you have a Gmail account, Terry, it's free. It's just part of your Gmail account. So super easy. And you don't have to deal with anything that's an added on cost. Okay. But great question, because yes, if you've got a bunch of things, if we're in the middle of selling glass jars and Southern Living at Home vases and used electronics, you're all over the board, you're in all different categories, it's going to get really hard to keep track of what's going on. So that's hopefully going to help you a little bit. But having a routine to your way that you're posting is also going to help. So if this truly was a business, you would probably have, I start my day by posting. Then I'm going to handle follow-up with folks. Then I'm going to handle shipping. Then we're going to handle just checking and making sure that all of these are looking right. Sharing them on social media, whatever you wanted to do there. I mean, if you were really going to get into a business with this, that would probably be, you'd have kind of a routine to your order as well. Okay. So to jump back and try to make sure I am not missing anything, question-wise, Wendy's saying she had an eBay side business selling shoes several years ago, decent side money, but it definitely takes some effort. So yeah, that's exactly it. And kind of getting that, you're going to have a business mindset to it and having that routine to your day. And yeah, and Wendy, if you've got any tips as to how you kept track of it all, I bet Terry wouldn't mind any tips that you had there too. Terry's on the YouTube side, so you'll have to leave them on Facebook and I'll try to share them with Terry, or I'll let my husband be the go-to there to share your tips with her. Okay, to jump back in, two other places. So I mentioned ThredUp as an idea. If you don't want to sell individually, I just want to clean out the closet and I want to make a little bit of money. There's actually another site that you can do the same thing with, and you sell your products just directly to them. So this is like doing kind of a trade-in on a phone. And that site is called Declutter. So it is clutter, it's declutter the way you would normally spell it, but no extra E at the end. So kind of funny, I guess, but DECLUTTR, and we'll stick that in the comments so you can see it. But Declutter, they actually started in Europe and now they're over in the US. They you just put into the website what you have. They will tell you what it's worth and then you ship it to them. And they give you the money back. So it's super easy without having to list it. Now, you are not going to get from them what the value might have been had you sold it yourself. But that's the case anytime. Anytime that I decide, I don't want to put the work into it, you aren't going to make as much money as you would have if you put the work into it. So you do have to consider that. But it is a pretty sweet and simple way to just, let's just get rid of this and let's get a little bit of money for it. That's a great site for doing this. My husband's being silly and saying, is this Marie Kondo's site? No, I don't think that she has any affiliation with Declutter, but she should. Marie Kondo should totally go in and have some, put her name on some site that sells back all the things that don't bring you joy. And that's where we should all be too, I guess. We should all be hugging our phones and our products and seeing whether or not they bring us joy and then selling all of it. If anything, I bet right now you would probably love to get rid of half the things in your house because you're realizing just how much clutter you have as you look at it all day long. I think that's where I am. I'd like to get rid of like 50% of the toys around here. But definitely getting something for it. Yes, as Jessica said, it's still better than throwing it out. So if you don't really, I don't have the time for this. If that's where you are, then yeah, hop online, send the clothes to ThredUp in a bag and send everything else to Declutter and get something for it. Now, I will tell you, Declutter does not want your jars. So if you're wanting to make money off of the unique things that people buy, you are going to have to post them on eBay. But if you are cool with getting rid of the electronics and the other items, the name brand items, they will totally buy them from you. So super easy and you're done. But you're good to go. Yeah. And Terry says that's more like it. I just need someone to pay me to take all my clutter. Yes, go that route then, Terry, and don't mess with it. Just declutter and you're good to go. Karen is sharing, so Karen sells on eBay and she says, my eBay sales have really declined since the virus came to the US, but I expect they'll take off again with fewer people shopping. And Karen, I kind of agree with you on that. There are less people that are wanting to go to stores. And, I would say too, there are less people with the stores that are online. They're having major delays. And so my husband, these were words out of his mouth, late last week was, I can order something on eBay and it will get here faster than something that I order on Amazon. So not only are you helping a little guy in that situation normally, but yeah, you can get it to us faster, Karen, than the big guys can. So I think if anything, if your sales may have dropped off, but I think I could see where, depending on what you were selling, things could tick back up for you. So, just to hang in there and see what they do in the end. But I think you're going to do just fine. Okay, so Deborah says there used to be a site that took used phones and gave them to the homeless or domestic violence folks trying to get back on their feet. So Deborah, that is something that I would actually recommend you do locally, but there are a lot of sites that will recycle phones, and that's kind of the gist of it. If you're wanting to go that route, but in terms of phones in your area, you can always donate them. Any phone, even a phone that does not have service, can still call 911. So you may not realize that, but it can. So donating your phone to anyone that you want to is an easy one, and they're glad to take them. But you can always recycle them. There's a lot of folks in town that will also recycle them for you. Staples, Office Depot, a lot of those folks will take them. But you can, just Googling recycle your phone too is returning a ton of options. So it's up to you as to where you'd want to go there. But you probably could jump in. Oh, Wendy, I don't know about your bag phone though. That bag phone may not be able to call anyone. But yes, I love the comment of my husband's that you should donate it to a museum. I think, yes, it was the first phone for so many of us. Okay. Yes. And Jessica, I agree. So hang in there. So if you are trying to sell on eBay, folks aren't buying them right now. Just hang in there. Don't give up on it. But I do think that you're going to see more and more folks going that route for sure. And yes, Wendy, we did talk briefly. I just kind of mentioned Poshmark, Tradesy as a place that if you had something to sell that was name brand, that it could be a great place to get them posted. Keep in mind for Poshmark and for Tradesy that you are going to deal with fees at that point. They're just an eBay for fancier clothes is basically the concept. But the more that you sell, and this is kind of key to Poshmark and Tradesy, the more that you sell, you end up getting reviews the same way you would on eBay. And the more that you sell, typically the better that you do because people trust what you're selling. So if you're just getting started on Poshmark or Tradesy, just give it a little bit of time, sell a few more things, and you may find that things actually sell better for you after you've sold a few items and you have a little bit of a review under your belt so that people realize that what you're selling is legit and is in good condition. Then more people are going to end up purchasing from you as well. And on those sites in particular, amazing pictures are going to be what sells it for you. I cannot tell you the number of pictures that you see for clothing that are just horrible. You need to actually iron. And that's big for me to say. I don't iron. I don't at all. So I'm sorry if that makes it where we can't be friends and you iron all the time, but I don't. And to a true confession, my husband taught me how to iron. That's how bad I am. I did not learn this growing up. But if you want to post clothing for sale, you need to iron it. It will sell so much better than you posting the most wrinkled shirt in the world and expecting folks to think that they have an idea of what it looks like. So it all goes back to a great picture and a great description and a great title, but iron your shirts. If that's the only thing you get from this, iron your shirts. Just take pictures, please. So go that route. The declutter, Wendy, in terms of the link, you're almost there. Just take out that E on the very end. DECLUTTR is declutter, and you'll get to their website and you'll be set. Declutter, they have a way that you will walk through on their site. I guess I could really just pull it up and show you. But you walk through on their site and you go through what you're selling, and they tell you what it's worth. So you're good to go, and you're just going to sell it straight to them, and then they turn around and they sell it to other folks. So you would say, I'm going to start selling and you're basically just trading it in, but they tell you what they're willing to take. And look, guys, they take Legos. So for all of you who have, kids that are grown, Legos have value. Do not just donate Legos, sell Legos. People will buy them. But this gives you an idea of what they're going to take: games, books, DVDs, tech, Legos. There are places that will also do they'll do some board games, but they really want video games. But there are folks that will also do board games. So you can go hunting for those. But this is great for just getting rid of electronics and not really having to deal with it from there. So you can walk through and you can even tell them, what it is, what the size is. So I'm just going to go here and pretend on an old phone. So this was my last phone that I had. But if I went in, I said it's unlocked and it's in good condition, they're just going to come right out and tell you what it's worth. So you're not left with I never had to enter my email, which I love. I never had to give you a blood sample just for you to give me a price. They're just going to tell you what it is right up front, which is great. Makes it easy for you. And you are kind of good to go. Okay. Now, I think we've hit a lot of what I had in my list for us tonight. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss anything huge. We do have a link, and I'm going to stick this in the comments, of just 10 things that you can sell online, because we went through that in the beginning, things to look for around the house, name brand, but gaming equipment, and I'll go through the list again really quick. Old electronics, dead, not working, it's just fine. Sell them, get rid of them. Gaming equipment and video games are huge. They will sell. Name brand clothing and accessories, large sporting equipment. So large sporting equipment, you may even sell it local, but how many people right now would love to have a treadmill, and they may never use it again after they buy it from you, but if it's just sitting in your house and you're not using it, this may be a great time to sell some treadmills, ellipticals, stationary bicycles for folks that are just, I need to be moving. You have them. They are a target audience right now. Used baby gear. So this is another one in terms of baby gear. We talked about this. I even remember a year ago someone else mentioning it. Keep in mind with baby gear, I used our vacuum example, but baby gear is another one that people buy just the parts for them. So if you're curious, do I sell this Exercaucer? Do I not sell the Exercaucer? Look at what the parts are doing, because you may be surprised, and folks are actually buying the parts for those items more than they're buying the product itself. So you can take it apart and make more money, just as an idea. Legos, used books, and gift cards. So that's another one, and I guess we don't want to leave it off, but there are a number of sites that you can sell gift cards to. So if you've got some old gift cards and you want to get rid of them, this is a great time to do it. We do have a number of deals running on gift cards right now, so I don't know. You may actually want to hold on to them. But come Christmas time, it's a great time as well. Raise.com is a really good one. And Gift Card Mall is another one. But places that you can sell your gift card to, they give you a fraction of it. So you don't get 100%. Let's say it's a $50 gift card. You might end up walking away with $40 of the $50 gift card. But you now have that in cash versus $50 to Build-A-Bear or wherever your gift card was for. I now have $40 in cash. And for some of you, that pays the bills. I can't pay the bills with a Build-A-Bear gift card, or just using kind of a silly example, but you get the idea. So you can turn around and sell gift cards and, make that money back in real money. And it's a great one too. And then obviously cars and larger stuff. Camping gear is great and does really well. That's another one to look for. Tools, furniture, appliances, you get the idea. There's a lot. Clean out the closets. There's a ton that you can sell in your closets. There's a ton that I could sell in my closet. We need to get on this. So I'm speaking to myself as we go through tonight, because I really do. We all need to go there. And then also in terms of selling, and when it comes to paying, do not accept checks ever. You should have learned that, in elementary school, really. It's not a safe way to handle for people that you do not know. You do not take checks. PayPal, Venmo, great options for local or cash. That's it. And if they can't handle that, that's okay. Someone else can. So don't feel, when it comes to dealing with a payment, don't feel like to make the sale that you need to make a concession on where this payment's coming from. Also, do not accept gift cards. That's a scam. It's a very big scam, but do not accept gift cards. So PayPal, Venmo, or cash. That is it. And they will make it work. If they want your product, they will make it work. But you don't want to get stuck with gift cards that really have no value. You also don't want to get stuck with gift cards that they, in theory, wrote down the number before they gave it to you. You then took the gift cards, but they are going to go home and clean those gift cards off long before you get a chance to use them. So no checks, no gift cards. Just don't do it. You're going to be much, much happier. Okay. And Jessica's chiming in and saying, too, now's a great time if you're a crafty person to start selling products, make cups, decals. I agree. Get super crafty and just get out there and sell your products. If you've got free time on your hands, let's make some items and see what you can do with them. Even if you don't get them sold right now, just getting them made right now and holding on to them for Christmas time, for Mother's Day. There's a lot that you could end up doing with those products when maybe you feel like people are doing more shopping, but you've used your time wisely to make lots of things while you're at home. Okay, I think that I've jumped through everyone's questions. And you are kind of good to go. Let's see. Oh, and Debbie, yes, thank you. So another one, Debbie says, if you prefer to deal with local buyers, she's also sold things on Nextdoor. So Nextdoor is really like a neighborhood app, and it's meant for a neighborhood to be behind. But if you have that in your area, then Nextdoor is also a great one. So thank you, Debbie, for chiming in on that one. The others that I mentioned for local are OfferUp, Letgo, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist. Those are all kind of the classics that are out there. But Nextdoor is another great one, and Virage Sale. So in those, you want to just go straight and search by city, and then you can see everything that's in your area, and you can also have yours listed in terms of where you live and what's in your area. Okay, housekeeping here before I hop off really quick. We are not going to have a Q&A next week. I debated, and I just decided to be a good mom all the way around. It's birthday in our house, so we are going to be parents. And not have a Q&A next Monday night. And we'll be back on the 20th with favorite rewards programs. So I thought it would just be a fun time to start talking about points in general, online, products, traveling, all of it. So just the top rewards programs. We usually cover this one once or twice a year, and it's usually a fun one. So that's where we're going to go on the 20th. And just make plans. So always Monday night, 8:30, just not next Monday night. Don't worry, we don't have any other breaks coming up anytime soon because, we can't go anywhere. Hopefully you guys are hanging in there. I actually meant to just check in on everyone's mental health when we got started. So since I at least know that you commented back, you're present and you're doing okay. Let's just kind of keep chugging along, guys. So we will be back for a Q&A in 2 weeks. I will be back on, though, sharing deals, and I actually thought we might do a live freezer cooking time later this week. So I'll figure out a time and I'll get it posted so folks know when. But I thought we would kind of just do meal planning and freezer cooking in the kitchen together live. So in lieu of a Monday night, just a different time. So thanks for joining me, guys. I hope that this helps. I hope you get your closets cleaned out. There we go. You got 2 weeks now to clean out your closets and get something posted. You have homework. Get something posted and make a little bit of money back from it. So you guys have a great night, and I will talk to you again very soon.